Hey guys,
Oh, hi.
we're not starting the show yet. We're just hanging out with you while we wait with Paul. Wait for Paul. He's just getting back from the movies.
Yeah, he went. What did he go see? Was it
Is it more Star Wars
Guardians of the
stuff?
Galaxy? Was it Guardians of the Galaxy? Oh no,
Oh, it
was
was
he seeing?
Guardians of the Galaxy. That's what it was. Yep, the new one.
Yeah, Volume 3. Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Can we start? I got to see Guardians at 6:30. Yeah, so we're just waiting for Paul to get back. In the meantime, I thought we'd say g'day. How you
Yeah,
doing?
how's it
There's
going?
no risk in not talking some smack with you. Me from my lovely cupboard under the stairs.
Yeah, he's
For I am
literally in the
waiting.
closet right now.
I am waiting for my ticket to Hogwarts to arrive any minute now, and I thought I had to be in the right place to receive such a gift.
Yeah,
Also, I got
it
my
must be
water.
like an early release tonight, right? For the Guardians of the Galaxy. I didn't think that was out yet.
I have no idea. I have not been paying attention.
I haven't been to see a movie in theaters since Dune, actually. Which, by the way, I saw the trailer for the next part of it, and I'm super excited for.
I'm stoked. I'm stoked for Dune. Like
Is
they
it
did so.
wrong though that like I watched the trailer for the trailer, and that got me more excited than the trailer did?
Maybe I don't know what
Yeah,
that
this,
means. I don't know if I've ever seen a trailer for the trailer.
well, because I just saw like a teaser trailer for the trailer before I even saw it.
Yeah,
But
that is a vessel with the pestle moment if I ever heard one.
it was really it was strange, but it got me really excited. Like, oh my god, I did not know this was coming. I was very excited, and then I saw the actual trailer. I was like, cool, but I couldn't get more excited about it. You know what I mean? Because I was already hyped because I
Mm.
like now that I know what was happening.
We have some people talking about the CSM releases. I thought our friend Adam was boycotting 40k since Abby's infantry Gillimanism. Well, I mean, Abaddon isn't a Primarch. He is like swelled by the warp, but he is not at the mercy of the warp, and has not been like apotheosised into being a monster. Apparently, he's still just a man, he's just innocent men, just just normal men. So he can't go. He can go through walls. Actually, I have no idea. I haven't seen the rules. Maybe monsters can go through walls as well. I have no idea. But yes, we did see some Chaos Space Marine rules, and it looks like Abby has infantry and can join squads. Or if he can't, he has to, right? Because he doesn't have lone operative, so he won't get bodyguarded not being in a squad like Gilliman
Well,
would.
maybe he just sucks then. Maybe he can't. Maybe he can't join groups, but doesn't have the
I,
leverage, so
I
he
also
could. You know?
are you loving all the memes of less rerolls? It's just everything they preview is just rerolls, 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 rerolls. That's so funny.
Yep. There's less rerolls everywhere, like, but everything has it. Gene Seals now
Everything
reroll the wound on an
everything
objective.
they have shown us has some way to or form of rerolls. Just like, but there's less rerolls, guys. It's fine.
Fine, don't worry about it.
We'll wait and see. Because I mean, in all honesty, like if all the super Primarch model guys cost 1,000 points, then there are less rerolls. you
Mm-hmm.
know, if they're price pointed appropriately.
Yeah, hopefully. That's the important part. It's the points. I think everything's gonna have to
Mm.
go up in points with a lot of the stuff that they're adding, if what they're saying is true.
Yeah. But yeah, apparently Abby has a leader, so he does squat up. Yeah, he
Yeah.
does. So easy done. I haven't had a huge amount of time to look over the K Space Marine release because I've been I'm at the ATC right now. I'm in lovely Broome Closet, Brisbane, Australia, waiting to battle it out for Team Victoria. Um. So yeah, well, it should be a good weekend.
Oh, you'll be good. I always
They
look
will
at
be
you
good.
guys. At least you get to play it. I haven't played since Canhammer now, and I'm feeling it. I haven't
Yeah,
played
you
it yet.
itching?
Well, I know that's not true. I played Jesse a couple times to help him practice for
Mm.
Motor City.
I'm a little ready to take a break from Ninth Edition. Well, I'm
Yeah,
ready to just like let Ninth Edition sail off into the sunset and just
it's
kind of after this event, just kind of take it easy and maybe
yeah,
play a couple ITTs.
yeah. I think I'm done with ninth.
I mean, it's kind of fair enough. It's had a good innings.
It did.
It
It did
feels
well.
for what it was like. It felt like it was a short edition, but I think that's COVID's fault more
It
than
is
anything
definitely
else, right?
Kova's fault. Yeah, I don't think
Yeah.
it was actually. It was an average. What was the longest one? Was it fifth?
I can't remember how long. I can't remember how long third, fourth, and fifth were.
Third was pretty
So
long. I don't know what fourth was.
yeah. Yeah, I'm not actually quite sure. Maybe we've got a 40k historian in the chat who can bring us up to speed.
There's got to be one in there.
Uh,
Out of all the people in
hmm.
there. By the way, if you're just joining us now, this isn't the actual show yet. We're just chatting you up while we wait for Paul to log in, and then we're
we're
going to start the show.
we're treading water,
Treading
so to
treading
speak.
water, yeah. Oh, and if you're
No,
watching this after the fact too, you'll be able to. If you were here live with us, you'll be able to interact with us.
would
Speak
they
of the
are they going to
devil,
be? Are they going to be? Okay. Hello, Paul.
Hello, Paul. We're actually live right now, but I'm going to go offline for a second, go back to the wait screen, and we'll be with you at the real show in a moment.
Soon.
And we're
Hello
live.
and welcome to the Warhammer Meta Chasers. I can see the screen.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. Don't need to
No.
give you prompts then.
No. I just settled into it. Hope everybody's doing okay. This is the Thursday show, getting you pumped for the weekend meta of Warhammer 40,000. We typically run down 3 events. We got an event shout out. We got some singles events. My name is Paul Murphy, your host. I'm joined by Dustin Hinshaw
Hello, everybody.
and Adam Camilleri.
I would like to pump the brakes for 1 second, Paul. We are no longer
my
the
goodness.
Thursday show. We just happen to be on Thursdays.
Oh,
Yes.
it's just such a habit. You've been doing it for so
It's a
long.
coincidence.
I know.
Well, one
it's
thing
like over a year.
We've always done is chase that meta. And, look, I think we're catching it. And I know that people are going to be excited about what's coming, but there's still a lot to happen right now. People are getting points. People are winning prizes. People are enjoying maybe the last hurrahs of their current army list. It's been fun to watch this whole season. I can't wait till it picks up anew. But we're going to be here every step of the way.
Exactly right. We've got a nice week of Warhammer for you. We have 3 100-plus player single events. I do realize I forgot to do the synopsis and the show title, but hey, here we are. We have the Richmond Open Baltic Cup and the Alamo GT, but I have to do a lovely event shout-out for the event I'm going to this weekend, which we aren't covering because it's an 8-pack teams event, and actually it would take up most of the show to cover, and we did a bunch of team stuff last week. So the ANZ Team Championship is on this weekend. That is it's usually referred to as the ATC, the Australian Team Championship, but this year exclusively...
Wait, we call it. We have one of those over here too.
Exactly right. So ANZ Team Championship is a little more inclusive.
Because there's another ATC. Like, I didn't think you were back in the States, but
That's right. So it's the ANZ Team Championship because we actually have 2 New Zealand teams coming this year. We have the North Island team and the South Island team coming to battle it out with every state of Australia representing their own team of 8 representatives to battle that. So essentially, who's got the best state in this the oceanic region? Hopefully we'll get Singapore in, and Indonesia in a couple of years.
You can put the club, you can put the region, you can put personal pride, into it. I love it when there's like those kind of stakes, greater than just a singles events.
Well,
go ahead.
If you think about what the WTC is, it's that, but just for this region.
that's big.
And instead of being and so it's like our national team championship. It's a really big deal. And now we've got New Zealand becoming a major player as well. It's very exciting. We're really hoping to expand it to be, so we have prospects in Singapore who want to start trying to be involved. We want to see if we can Philippines, Indonesia, Southeast Asia can start sending contingents as well, and start getting possibly the Southern Hemisphere having a full representation at this event. It would be extremely exciting. But there's 10 teams.
What are you
I'm
playing?
I'm playing guard.
Guard. Oh,
Hey,
you're the
it's
guard
been-
player.
Astra
I was gonna-
Militarum and Iron Hands in the finals of the Warhammer Fest big event.
correct.
Over 350 people playing last weekend. So, Guard, very top contender.
Oh, for sure.
Iron Hands, they've been kind of like knocking on the door as a list to fear, made manifest this past weekend. Let's actually get into the event coverage and see if people are following suit on what they saw from there. And we'll hit that team tournament shout out coming up pretty soon in between this event and the next event, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Beautiful.
Keep people excited.
Let's jump in. First up, what do we got?
This is the Richmond Open from Richmond, Virginia. That is in the United States. It's the north of me. I was about to say it's in the north, but the Virginians would get real upset if I miss it.
Yes, they would. There would be repercussions.
But it is north of me. But there's 119 players, 6-round event. We're going to run down the stats. If you're new here, we actually run down the factions that are played by every player that's registered at the event. Folks that list their faction, we have a hashtag doing in the right thing.
Yes.
Thankfully, a lot of organizers are insisting that the players do that, and that helps us talk about the event. Gives us something to say. Dustin, would you mind running down what we're going to see there?
I would love to. So the Imperial Superfaction, there are 4 Custodes, 3 Admech, 12 Astra Militarum, 3 Grey Knights, and 5 Imperial Knights. Space Marines, there's 3 Dark Angels, 3 Space Wolves, 6 Blood Angels, 1 Ultramarine, 2 Salamanders, 5 Black Templars, 2 Raven Guard, and 6 Iron Hands. That's actually a different spread than I was expecting. Chaos, there's 3 Chaos Space Marines, 2 Death Guard, 2 World Eaters, and 11 Demons, 4 Renegade Knights. Xenos, there's 2 Necrons, 7 Orcs, 10 Tau, and 3 Votans. 10 Tau. That's a lot of Tau. That's a lot of Tau in a tournament that has that many Blood Angels as well, actually. Hive Mind, there's 4 Tyranids and 3 G-Star Cult. I don't mind that at all. Eldari, there's 1 Drukhari, 6 Assyriani, and 3 Yunari, meaning the faction podium is, of course, Astra Militarum, topping it off with 12. Demons in second with 11, and then Tau
Interesting.
taking the bronze spot with 10.
Very interesting. And before we talk about who is present, let's talk about who isn't present, because there is not one single Sisters of Battle player at this event. It's probably the first time, possibly this edition, we've seen a 100-player event that does not have any Sisters of Battle, and hopefully this does not herald a downward trend for the remainder of Ninth Ed, as short as it may be, depending on which rumors you pay attention to. But that was a weird omission. That was a very strange omission when I got to it. But yeah, boys, Tau is the big Guard and Demons having plenty of players. Who cares? Whatever. 10 Tau, really strange.
Yeah, that broadside buff is bringing a lot of Tau players back. You see
Is
a
it
lot of
real though?
broadsides.
Yeah, what
Is it
that?
real?
It's broadsides. For those who don't know, the broadsides got core back, which means they're getting full rerolls. They can get the feel no pain again. They're just a lot more reliable in killing stuff, and they can even technically rely, because they reroll all hits now. If you build them properly, they can actually do decently with the outer line of sight shooting again. They could,
Mm-hmm.
which is a
Well,
real
into
pain
a
to
lot
deal with, as we found out with the warders and the guard.
Well,
if you-
Desolation squads and
Desolation squads, yeah, exactly.
Exactly. It allows them to hang in that battle. And
Yeah.
in addition to that, there are a lot of people out there. Well, look at the 2 things on the podium above them. There's a lot of guardsmen that don't like being shot by SMS. There's a lot of demons that don't like being shot by SMS.
That
So
SMS
this is
great.
This is a real player. It's actually very interesting that we're coming back to the no line of sight shooting kind of meta. There's now 3 big players in it that can do it. Any Space Marine faction that makes good use of Desolator Marines. Mortars, of course, for Guard, and sometimes the Bombards or the Earthshaker batteries. And then, of course, the SMS coming back into the fore. It's actually creating a little bit of a, not quite a rock, paper, scissors, but you need to be able to cop these things. That you need to be able to have a solution.
Because you have them in your list, Adam?
I do not, but I did consider them. I looked into them quite extensively. I didn't take them because I couldn't give them rerolls. I give them orders, but I can't give them rerolls.
Now that we've said all this too, you realize that probably most of these broadsides are actually going to have rail cannons, but I'm just just pointing it out. But
and some missile shoulders, right, or something. What are they? It's been
Well,
too long since I've seen them.
They take the Magna Rail and then the SMS up top, usually.
Yeah.
But sometimes it used to be the Magna Rail and the Plasma, but now I think the SMS is better.
the SMS is going to be the way to go for sure. Now that they have core back again, that's a huge deal.
That's still a big swing, though, to have that many Tau players,
really
dovetailing into that. But
it is.
I mean,
but if you look at like Adam said, because of the top armies that are existing right now with Demons and Guard, they just have a great match into them with this new
taking out the cannons too. I mean, Sentinels. That's the thing, is that Sentinels, they've got that awkward, weird wound profile. They got 7 wounds or whatever, so you need something that does more than D6 damage. And rail cannons, I think, do that, right?
They do that.
Yeah.
They definitely can do that.
You're absolutely correct. Are there any other weird figures here? I don't think there is any other outliers, particularly 6 Assyrian is pretty in keeping. I think the rest of it is pretty by the book. You did note the Blood Angels. The 6 Blood Angels was quite interesting. The 6 Iron Hands for the Space Marine super faction. I would honestly have suspected that all the Blood Angels players were pretending that they were Fenrisian at this stage. Thought they were Assault Marines and Vanguard veterans.
Asthmatics is going to be there. Let us know what you're playing.
Absolutely, yeah. Let us give you a shout out. Like at the moment, I'm of the opinion that if you just have a big jump pack generic Space Marine army, Space Wolves is a way better option than the Blood Angels. But hey, this could lead us into some speculation. I'm sorry, Paul. I'm sorry. It's deep. It's deep. So. A complete tangent, Paul. In the fluff, Sanguinius' soul is inside of the Sanguinor, Astarath, and Mephiston. Yeah.
I don't know if that's actually confirmed. I don't.
But this is stuff from 15 years ago. Yeah.
I don't know if that's actually confirmed.
Okay.
No.
I don't believe it's confirmed either. But me and the boys last night, we had a funny game of trying to figure out which one of the Charlie's Angels was which one of the. Never mind.
He hit me and then lifted me back up a little bit and then just hit me right back down.
But the funny chats that come up around the painting table when you're cramming for an event is just hilarious. Anyway,
only the type of disrespect that normally happens in the pre-show. Doesn't make it.
You guys get it live this time.
All right. All right. Top players in attendance. Let's jump into it. First up, we have Matt Shuckman playing Asturiani, playing Ulthway. His Arcs of Omen attachment consists of the elites being the mandatory slots. He's got the Avatar of Cain, Baharoth Eldrad, and a Farseer Skyrunner, 2 units of 5 Rangers, 2 single Warlock Skyrunners, 2 units of Dire Avengers, 2 units of Howling Banshees, 5 Striking Scorpions, 2x3 Shroud Runners, a single Viper, 3 Deer Cannon platforms, and a Wave Serpent. Now, this is my favorite configuration of the Avatar of Cain, because I think the Avatar only exists and can only be wielded when it has enormous amounts of psychic support, but when it does, it can go to a Super Saiyan level of you must be able to play against this super Imperial Knight, essentially, if you're going to win this game. I do love this one for an Ulthway build, but what do you boys make of it?
Well, it depends. Which Super Saiyan you're talking about? Like, who are we talking about here? Are we talking about Gogeta? Are we talking about just Vegeta, Goku? What level here? I want to know what this.
Let's go Super Saiyan 2 Gohan versus Cell.
Ooh, that's
let's go.
All right, classic one there. I like it. Mad respect.
Chat,
No,
we've transcended into another language.
We have.
Help me.
We have.
No, I actually really like this build too. The Avatar, he has a lot more play than a lot of people think he does. I think I put him together recently too, so I'm actually kind of want to put him on the board again.
Oh,
he, like you said,
believe in
with
it.
the psychic support, he actually does a lot more than people are expecting him to do.
So this list gets 6 Fate dice instead of 5, and then it gets 2 rerolls plus Eldrads plus all this stuff. So it's going to have a supercharged psychic phase, which means that Avatar Cain can be +1 saved, 5 up, feel no pain, a -1 to hit, all this stuff. It just becomes really punishing to try and push on this list. And if for a couple of turns that Avatar just plays goalie for the D cannons, and then turn 2,
D cannons,
turn 3,
yeah.
Absolutely.
D cannons, we've seen them creep more in, especially that indirect fire or whatever. But they've got a very medium range, and a lot of armies are fast and can close on them, but they don't want to close near the Avatar Arcane.
No, they definitely.
That's exactly right. Exactly right. You don't want to have to pressure that, because it's like 2 units of Howling Banshees, Striking Scorpions ain't nothing, and then you add the Avatar of Cain. It's actually a pretty punishing counterattack should you try and push on this list. And apart from that, it's just good MSU stuff. Dire Avengers is very good at coming on the boards, getting R&D from reserve behind enemy lines, engaging all fronts. And of course, this list is literally just going to auto get Warp Ritual essentially on its own terms.
Any aspiring Eldari players out there, I'll tell you what, something we've seen in almost every single list we've covered in the Eldari is 2 units of Skyrunners and a Viper. Those give a lot of play, especially for the points investment that you can give into them. And that's something outside of the other stuff we talked about. They've been consistent across a lot of lists.
Yeah, well pointed out as well. They're one of those action monkeys, points-getting units that still manage to contribute to the overall game plan that we've loved to see in lists in all of 9th edition, I believe.
Yeah, we actually have several players from this event in the chat.
Yeah, we do. Keep telling us what you guys are playing too. I want to actually call these out. Is my mic better now, S. Maddox? Thanks for calling out that was low. I turned it up a little bit, and I'm speaking up a bit more, so you'll be able to hear me better. But Dorian brought up a good point too, because a lot of the time the psychic power secondaries are a little iffy if you're going against another psychic army, because they can potentially deny it. But with Ulthway, you can take that relic to make sure that if you roll a 9 or more, you can't be denied. That's a big deal, because then you're just like,
it's a huge deal.
Reliable.
Does that work on like Warp Ritual and everything like that?
Absolutely does, mate.
It specifically says psychic and psychic actions.
Seems pretty good. If you are listening to this after the fact on the podcast aggregators, please give some 5-star reviews first. Let me just slip that in. But no, we also do this live. You can come actually join in the chat that we're talking about later on. But we certainly appreciate you listening after the fact also. But you'll hear us talking to the folks that are here with us live. And some of them are, again, it's kind of cool to see them playing in the event. You got one of the 2 World Leaders list that we called out are the players in the chat. World Leaders have been tearing it up.
With or
what's the
without
next list? Yeah.
Next list is from Mark Hertel. He's playing Dr. Sastadi's Iron Hand successors, Master Artisans and Warded. And Warded being the 5-up Feel No Pain against Mortal Wounds, which is an interesting take. And of course, Master Artisans being the one reroll to hit. He's got Elites as his Arcs of Omen mandatory attachment. It starts off with a Chaplain, a Primaris Lieutenant, 2x5 Infiltrators, a Volkite Contemptor, naturally the character with all the trimmings, 20 Scouts in 10-5-5 configuration, 2x5 Terminators, 10 Desolators, 2 units of Devastators, of course, with their ubiquitous drop pod, and the 4 Land Speeder Storms that we saw a couple of weeks ago, lads, with that beautiful scout configuration, allowing you to have essentially 4 units of scouts when you combat squad the 10-man, letting you have 4 Land Speeder Storms with 4 units inside them. And remember what we said about Vipers and Action Monkeys? This is that taken up to 11.
Yep. I hate Desolators. Like, I can't. I hate them.
But if you look at the reason I put these two lists together is because you look at them fundamentally next to each other and they're not that too dissimilar. This one has 10 Desolators and 2 units of Devs and a Volkite Contemptor sitting back with the 2 units of Terminators playing goalie for them. The previous one has Banshees and the Avatar playing goalie for them. And then it just has a bunch of Action Monkeys go out, get points, stuff. And then it has a very good ability to, especially this is why I believe he's taken 2 units of Termies, is because he wants to teleport homers so that he can get those Termies aggressive quickly should he need to, a la that Avatar of Cain, those Banshees getting auto 9-inch charges, while these Terminators can just go from on the board, cool, you're not pushing at me, off the board, and next turn deep striking to be aggressive. I think it's a pretty cool configuration. I actually really love it. The only one I'm iffy on, and this is a bit of a fringe pick that I've seen taken by one of the gentlemen that I'm playing with on the weekend, is that Chaplain. That Chaplain is there to give the Desolators pluses to hit, pluses to wound against the closest targets. Because that's the canticles he's got. I had a look, and I'm waiting for him to prove his place and prove that in this configuration or in configurations like this, another lieutenant or a Reaver lieutenant or a tech marine or an apothecary isn't a better option. But I'm waiting to find out. I'm here. I'm not going to say it's a bad choice until I see for sure.
No,
I like it in concept.
It's definitely not a bad choice. I like it. It's just a matter of I want to see how it plays too, because to me, when you do something like that, it kind of almost pigeonholes you into, okay, well, this is the closest unit now, so I have to kind of do it against them. You feel like you have to, or just lose efficiency. But I mean, if that's the target you want to target anyway, then it's great.
It's telling your opponent what to play. It's telling your opponent how to play.
It gives your opponent the ability to kind of say, okay, well, here's what you should shoot at if you want full efficiency, or you can shoot at something else that I don't want you to shoot, but you won't get more efficiency against the kind of thing.
Well, here's the even funnier thing, and why I put these two next to each other, because Matt Shuckman just fully buffs the Avatar of Cain, and that's the closest.
Yeah, exactly.
Ta-da!
Ta-da! Here you go. Shoot
Enjoy.
Have fun.
I love it. I love that. I love that concept in my head of these two playing each other, and that being the reality. It's like, well, I'm happy I brought a Chaplain. Thanks for bringing a Avatar of Cain with every buff. This sucks so much. But yeah, I love both these lists. I think they're phenomenal. It's interesting that I'm seeing more and more Iron Hands lists that are going away from the vehicles and going more towards the infantry spam. And because outside of the Volkite Contemptor and the Storms, which the Storms have fly and like 16-inch move, they're not really conventional, having to go around ruins vehicles.
They got such wide bases and stuff. They're sort of wide profiles. They work for all that blocking and tackling, and it's got a lot of functionality in those Land Speeder Storms.
Exactly right, and it's not very hampered by having a bunch of gladiators, a bunch of impulsors, or things of this nature. So I like it a lot. I think it's a list that can play on any terrain format.
Yeah, it's focused a lot more on singles, just winning by points, because it has so many things to get points, and it still has the killing power it needs, which is ridiculous.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, those are the two lists we've got for this weekend. What do you guys boys think? And would you like to pick a winner?
So here's what we do now. If you're just joining us for the first time, we call a winner. It could be a player, it could be a faction, it could be a list, it could be somebody we talked about, someone we didn't talk about. We just make our best prediction on what faction or what player will win this event. What do you think, Dustin? I
am actually going to go with Tau.
Nice. Ooh, that would be big if Tau got a decent scalp event this late in the edition. That would be impressive.
The spike of that many Tau, they know something about the terrain or the event or something, and I am backing them.
I love it.
I hate myself for doing it because I hate Tau.
I feel so dirty.
I need to take a shower after this. This is wrong.
Yeah.
What do you think, Paul?
I'm going with Chris in the chat with his world eaters. I'm
Yeah,
going
there
with
you
that.
go.
Like, you know, you got
Bad
10
lad.
Tau players. Got one world eaters player over
That's
here.
all I need. We'll go through all of them.
I adore that. I am going. Oh, I'm not going to go Astro Militar. That's the easy money
That's
pick.
the easy money. Come on. Don't
Let's
do
not
demons either.
do that. Part of me thinks I should go Space Marine. I should just be like Templars or something. Yeah, Templars. Let's do it.
Templars.
Like
All right,
Templars.
all right, all right.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
a lot of them there.
Look, there we go. So, Adam, speaking of Astra Militarum, you were going to tell us what's in your list for that team event. If you can share some of that secret sauce.
Absolutely. Well, the lists are all live. You can go check it out on
Secret
BCP for
sauce.
yourself if you like. So a couple of things went against me in the prep for this one. I wasn't in Australia for most of the prep for this event, and we Australia prides itself on the quality and how good we prep for the ATC. And usually it's our also ANZ TC, and usually it's our tester for WTC players. If you perform well at the ANZ TC, you know you're in line if you want to push to go for the WTC level. So I wasn't able to do as much prep as I wanted with my team, but I did a lot of prep naturally in the States playing a bunch of events. I wanted to play a Triple Dawn list, but I didn't have time to get the models together. So what I've taken is pretty much the ubiquitous 4 HQs. We got the command squad with the Finial, we have the Death Corps Marshal, we have Lord Solar, and we have the tank commander with Gatekeeper and Ignores Cover, that being the tank commander upgrade. Then I've got 20 Acadians with what you'd expect: Vox, Drumfed, Auto, Melter, Plasma. Only 10 Kassakin with the Barbican's Key. So I started with 30. When the balance slate cut down, I cut down to 20, and then I cut down to 10. And because then I have 9 Sentinels, 6 armored, 3 Scout Sentinels. Then I have 9 mortars, so 3x3 mortars, and then 3 Lehman Rush Plasma Fusioners with heavy bolters all around, dozers, all that stuff, and a Chimera with double heavy bolter. That's the list from top to bottom. Born Soldiers, baby, all the way.
Nice.
So it's
All right.
I like it.
4 Russes, 9 Sentinels. It's a good. So essentially, it's just a good singles list.
Yep.
Is what I've taken.
Oh, for sure. You'll get points in every game. Like there's nothing they can do
Yeah.
to stop you.
Pretty much. That's the hope.
Okay.
The hope is it's just a good all rounder. No real big stress points.
Nope. For sure.
And then, Dustin, I have a question for you. How did you choose to model your avatar? Did you go which configuration between head and weapon?
Ooh.
Buddy, I'm a huge like Spartan armor fan, so I have the Spartan helm with the spear.
All right. All right.
I don't mind that at all.
I love
Nope.
that helmet. I love that.
I don't think it's the wrong choice. I don't think it's the wrong choice in that model.
I definitely.
It's phenomenal.
Next event.
I'm going to be painting that soon too. I can't help but look at it right now. I'm finishing off. I'm trying to catch up on the few NID models that I wanted to redo, and now they just launched a whole new line of them that I have to paint up.
You're going to be in trouble.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Next event we're talking about is the Baltic Cup. Is that 11?
It's 11.
Cup
Yeah.
11.
Yeah. Hamburg, Germany. Quite possibly in Europe. 164 players. 5-round event.
But close to London.
What are we going to see there?
Let's see. In the Imperial Super Faction, all the Sisters players appear to be here with 6 Sisters battles, 10 Custodes, 2 Admech, 9 Astro Militarum, 5 Grenadiers, and 8 Imperial Knights. Space Marines, there's 6 Dark Angels, 4 Space Wolves, 3 Blood Angels, 1 Salamander, 2 Black Templars, 6 Iron Hands, and 1 Death Watch. Chaos, there's 2 Chaos Space Marines, 2 T-Suns, 2 Death Guard, 10 World Eaters, 15 Demons, and 8 Renegade Knights. Xenos, there's 8 Necrons, 6 Orcs, 7 Tau, and 5 Votan. Hivemind, there's 5 Tyranids and 5 Gs to their cult. I love Europe, man. Eldaria, there's 4 Jakari, 3 Harlequins, and 13 Asuriani, and 2 Yanari, meaning the faction podium is Demons topping it with 15, Asuriani's in second with 13, and then Custodes and World Eaters in third with 10. Where did this Asuriani surge come from? Wow.
This
They all
is
built
wild.
their avatars.
This is wild, boys. Yeah. So you really can't discern what kind of meta this is, and B, what the terrain format is from any of this information. You just look at this and you're like, well, I guess they're just playing Warhammer. Like, well, fair enough. But yeah, Demons topping it off is not that surprising. I talk to demon players all the time, and because I have a very strong demon players in my local scene, and they're just like, it's just fun. It's just fun and it's strong, and so they play it. It's really kind of nice to see people enjoying it. But yeah, the Asuryani wave, like where the hell did that come from? And I mean, I understand that they have a better ability now to have a even matchup into everything. And of course, Armor Contempt going away a couple of months ago was a big boon to so many of their weapon profiles. But this is still a big wave, like still an unexpectedly big wave.
Yeah, absolutely. Hail of Doom, I think, made a big resurgence because of the lack of armor contempt now. Just because even when you don't roll the 6 and the -1 is
Mm.
still decent for you, it still actually
Still
does something.
fine. Yeah.
Which is also why
Yep.
Oathway is. I still think Oathway is a better build because of the psychic support and just the Guardian buff they can do with the D cannons. I just
Agreed.
think overall it's just better, but they have a lot of play, and they are another army that scores points reliably if you build them right and play them right. They're
Mm.
not. They're a scalpel. So like you can't
Yeah.
you can't make many mistakes with them because they're very squishy,
Mm.
but they're a great army.
And people have started to twig to the things that make the games a lot more playable.
Yes.
So Shroud Runners have been the key to a lot of the success at the moment. They have the minuses to be charged. Should you play into the 10 World Eaters, Orcs, things that are going to come and try and eat you in your boots, you just play them out front minus a charge, and they get cover like infantry. So if they're hiding and they're your front line, like mortars can't kill them. SMS hate trying to. Like it's actually quite a good defensive profile to have because they get that cover save. Um, it's pretty cool.
How are they playing in the Astra Militarum? Because that's really what you have to ask yourself: is
Mhm.
is
Mm.
if you're planning to win the event, you're going to have to go through an Astra Militarum.
Yeah, how do they
Yeah,
get past those mortars safely?
well, that's what I mean. That's the Shroud Runners don't care about the mortars. The Shroud Runners cannot be hurt by mortars. You get a 2+ save against them, and then they have the perfect Strength 6 profile for you to edge your way up the board and then just scoot yourself behind and pick them up in retaliation. So they're kind of perfect for that. And then of course we're seeing even Matt Shuckman start taking a wave serpent or two, or be willing to put your banshees, maybe not
Right.
striker scorpions because they have a 3+ armor. Be willing to put that stuff in a transport or off the table for a turn or two. And then of course, should all else fail, walk the D cannons on, blast them, and you're good to go.
So you're mostly saying that in order to keep them safe, you need to rely on the Shroudrunners to kill them the first few turns and keep the rest of them in transports or off the table because
Exactly right.
those are their, as
It's,
Dorian put it,
well,
they're natural predators.
Exactly right. Well, should you just have all your alpha assets, maybe what we want to call them, and Shroud Runners as the only targets for the mortars, you don't even have to kill them because cool. I shot out the banshees. The banshees killed something. They were going to die next turn anyway, mortars or
Right.
whatever. So who cares? So if you're not giving them any good targets throughout the game, it doesn't really matter. You can just leave them alive if you want.
Okay. Yeah, I
I
can see
like the
that.
sound of that. Yeah, let's jump into one of the top players.
All right, so with the lovely help of Tom Adriani from the WTC Council, he gave me some of the top players in attendance, and I looked through all the lists that he gave me. I picked out some of the interesting ones. So this is Thomas Bruscher. Dustin,
Sure.
approval? Yes, that might as well be a gold star upon Adam's metrics.
That's like a silver star with 4 stars
With a smiley face on it.
with a smiley face on it, yes.
He's playing Goth Orcs. He's got fast attack as his mandatory slots. 2 beast bosses on Squigosaur, which I adore. 3x10 beast snaggers, 2 units of 10 Gretchen, 2x5 commandos, a big brick of 9 mega knobs, 3x3 Squig Hog boys, 3x5 storm boys, a battle wagon, and 2 kill rigs. So of course the battle wagon will be there for the mega knobs, and so I'm starting to see this more and more. With the 2 beast bosses on Squigosaur, and I am just so here for it. I am so here for the beast bosses. I think they are incredibly good value on the Squigosaur, and they're just in the innate durability that they have in this game where not much is durable. It feels really good. Apart from this is a pretty good stuff Goth configuration, sans Gaz, of course, but that big brick of Mega Knobs, boys, what do we think of it?
That is what I was looking at too. Like
I love it.
I am on the fence.
Don't y'all all try to jump on the Mega
I
Knob
want-
train. Y'all were like,
No,
Mega
no,
Knobs are gone, regular knobs are back.
I love
That's-
Mega Knobs.
That's
but 9 Mega Knobs is a lot of Mega Knobs.
that's a
You're
lot
saying
of
the
that's a lot.
quantity has its own quality to it.
Well,
That's a lot of
I
Mega
honestly think Thomas has been literally like paying attention to the meta and being like, well, these 2x3 or 2x4 Mega Knobs ain't cutting it. So either they're going or I just make more. All right, we just go more. That more dot GIF, whatever it is. But 9 Meganobs might be the number that makes them good. My only issue, it might be, it may be
Certainly
really
not. They have
sleeping
like
on it.
Intense too many.
8,000 attacks and a 2-up save. It's
Yeah.
I mean,
Coming out of a battle wagon, of course, as
Yeah,
well.
they're gonna be in the battle wagon.
Is pretty nice. And of course, I'm of the opinion that if you're taking Meganobs, they need a transport. They're too slow otherwise to make the journey. But in saying this, he has gone for a bit of a defensive skew to his Goths. There is a lot of high toughness here, and if not high toughness, high save. Essentially, the only squishy stuff are the 3x5, 2x5 commandos, 3x5 storm boys, because the Beast Snagger boys are going to be in the toughness 8 kill rigs. The Meganobs have a 2+ save and are going to be in the battle wagon, and then behind them is just going to be 2 beast bosses. So there's not that much for your little guns to go at until you crack the transports, or they get you get them out and let them use their units. So I don't mind this. This seems a little bit more defensible, a little bit more durable than what we're used to.
Yeah, same thing as the Eldar are doing too. You just have everything. Mortars aren't going to be able to kill all the squishy things because they're either not going to be on the board, or they're going to be in transports, and who knows? By then you're going to have 9 Meganobs right in your grill. So
yeah. Someone's pointed out there's 3 Beast Snagger boys units and only 2 kill rigs. It's probably just one sit and playing defense for the Gretchen. Probably,
or
there's two Gretchen.
Because why not?
Yeah, exactly right. Well, someone also mentioned that the Meganobs could be going in reserve. Could be in the teleporter.
They definitely.
Yeah, that's also an option. Especially if you're facing down the D cannons and stuff like that. You just don't.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. Ain't gonna let that happen.
Right. 9 Meganobs will be a lot less than 9 very quickly.
And hello to folks that have just joined us in the chat. I see some new names there. Also, great. I mentioned the cool chat community. Folks are welcoming them as well as they're jumping in. Love to see that. So thank y'all for that. What's the next list we're seeing?
All right, next up we have Arn Zernt, who came second. Zernt.
Just move on. Move on,
what?
man.
No, you say it. You say it. Correct me.
No, it's okay.
Don't just mock me.
It is
Correct.
way better to just mock you.
No, because you don't know how to say it either, Dustin.
No, not a clue. But I'm not dumb enough to try.
Whatever.
It's got to be Zernt.
That was closer.
Arn is playing Mono Zinch Chaos Demons. He's got Elite as his mandatory slot. He's got Demon Prince, Fluxmaster, and the Lord of Change, the big bird. 10 blues and 2x10 pinks. 3 Exalted Flamers, 17 Flamers, so 1 off maximum Flamers, so it's 665. 3 into 3 Screamers, and a Burning Chariot. So yes, they are essentially they're back. Does the Demon Prince gives them rerolls? Yeah.
It does. Yeah.
Once,
Demon Prince Zinch.
Yeah. So that's probably the idea there. They'll have the rerolls to hit, rerolls to wound.
Yeah, I mean, with your pure Zinch, you have to max Flamers almost.
Is it rerolls to wound as well?
Rerolls to wound is from something else.
It's reroll hit roll of 1, and I think it's the Flux or one of the other heralds.
So, yeah.
One of the other heralds.
It's like it's a power or
okay.
Either. There was a power for +1 to wound as well.
Yes, that's the powers +1 to wound. One of those characters is given reroll.
Yeah. So Flux Marked is reroll once to wound. Demon Prince is reroll once to hit. So they're all rerolling once for each, and then they can get the +1 to wound spell. So they can just pop the absolute off. Now, what we see from these Zinch demons is usually this is a predator into the shooting matchups. And while we haven't seen a huge amount of guard and or Tau, there is a godload of Asuriani, and they are not going to like this.
No. That is.
They also shoot. Yeah.
Yeah,
they also shoot.
Very astutely. Very astute.
A lot of them do have good close combat, though. Like the Asuriani do have good close combat, or fast.
That's true.
Combat. But I don't know if they have enough to trade up into it. That's the problem, because they need to get their close combat into the Flamers, and it has to be the Banshee so they can't get overwatched. Because even though they're not auto hitting, that Overwatch is still scary for Eldar.
Exactly right. It's more than enough.
Yeah,
what is it? It's D6 plus 18.
Yeah.
66 plus 18.
It's still
like
it's
my
still
eyebrows are like yeah. Yeah. Absolutely mental. But that is the Baltic Cup, boys. Do we want to pick a winner?
Yeah.
Well, before we do that, I want to mention that I think it's cool that you brought up demons, and we've seen demons so represented on these faction podiums. I don't know if you've kind of get your eye to what Pantheon representation has been out of this group, and if there's been more towards Zinch, which I can probably suspect that there has been, as opposed to the others.
Zinch is the only mono god list that I have seen in any form of like decent
Yeah.
representation. It's either a bit of everything, but apart from Nurgle, it's either three of the four gods or it's mono Zinch is the two archetypes that I've seen so far.
Aside from that one Slanesh build that we saw,
Yes. A couple of weeks ago, there's always that. There's one Slanesh build a week at a major, but usually there's like 5, 6, 7 across these three events. I can
to be
tell
fair,
you, I
I have
believe
seen corn builds. They just don't do well.
they don't do well, unfortunately. I've seen Nurgle builds, and unfortunately,
But you
it's the
can
same
work
story.
in corn elements to
Absolutely.
a larger
Yes.
list, and
Yes.
that's what the Demon Codex is so deep that it has kind of an answer. If you happen to like stitch it together exactly right, you can find answers to a lot of things in the meta.
It's a very interesting thing. Now that we're at the end of the edition, this might be a fuego in the future. Hey, sign up for the Patreon. Where there's kind of almost two philosophies as an analyst that we look at 9th edition codexes. There's 9th edition codexes that have good rules, and the 9th edition codexes that have good data sheets. And there's only a handful that have had both. Drukhari have had both, Tyranids have had both, but then a lot of the rest is either one or the other. Orcs and demons have good data sheets, not good rules. And ubiquitously, like demons live and die of how good their data sheets are. Pink Horrors, for example, possibly one of the most busted data sheets in the game at the moment. I believe it's the most busted data sheet in the game. Splitting, having a perma 3+ in a save that cannot be altered in any way, apart from a very unique warlord trait for Grey Knights, is just a heinous, defensive profile that can also be -1 to hit. And so these couple of factions, both the factions we listed here, live and die off how good those data sheets are. And you're right in exactly what you said. Demons exclusively have this depth of data sheet that where they kind of have a solution for most metas. Shooting meta are cool, mono Zinch. Also shooting meta, Slanesh to close the distance quickly, and Khorne to keep you in combat. There are also solutions there. It's depth that has multiple solutions for that meta. And then you want to just go trade in the middle. Slanesh always strikes first. Who cares? Let's grind. I've got more boys than you. Is an option as well. The lever they can pull. So you're absolutely right.
All right, so what's winning this thing?
um,
I'm gonna talked up those.
Do you know what? Renegade Knights is my pick. I'm going straight off the deep end.
Whoa!
Let's just do it.
Where did that come from?
Because I'm trying to keep you just guessing. I'm trying not to be predictable.
You're right. I'm guessing. I am very much guessing. What are you feeling?
What do you got? Hey, big boy.
No, I'm going with Esserani. I think there's going to be the combination. There's enough of them. They're finally going to break through. They have not broken through. I think they're missing a couple of answers, but there's a lot of very capable players out there.
All right, so you're both going Eldar, Craftworlds? And keep in mind, like the Matt Shuckman list that I pulled out for the previous event is one of the very few Asuryani builds that don't have the traveling players in them these days. Almost every Asuryani or Craftworlds build will have that patrol with a minimum of Shadow Seer or Troop Master, 1 or 2 troop, and that Death Jester, that super potent Death Jester.
I can't pick the same thing as Paul. I can't do that.
You totally can. There are no rules.
I'm not gonna.
Okay, I'm fine. Yep. I respect it.
I actually think this is actually where Space Wolves might come in.
Ooh, I like that.
All right. We got one more event. After this event, we actually take a pause, a little bit of a palate cleanser at the end of the show, where we do something that has sometimes very little to do with Warhammer. But after we talk about all the crunchy meta and all the stats and all the numbers and stuff, it's just a kind of way to chill out at the end of the show. So if you want to, take that moment with us, hang out till after we do this event. This is also where we'd normally insert a sponsor or something.
Well, funny you say that, mate, because this week just gone, we launched our Patreon to allow you boys and ladies at home to support us directly. Should you wish, should you think we're worth the cash dollars. There are 3 tiers to our Patreon. You can find us over at the Warhammer Meta Chasers over on Patreon. It should be quite easy to find. And there is a lot on offer there, depending on the tiers. So there is you just love what we do and want to support us, slap down $3 a month. We will be extremely grateful to have your patronage. But then if you want to tick up, the benefits just add up from there. Second tier is a full post-show snippet. So we haven't got anybody at this tier yet. So if you want to make us do this show, sign up for the tier. But this will be a 20-minute to 40, no more than 40-minute wrap-up show. So after the weekend's gone, maybe on the Monday or the Tuesday, when us 3 boys, or at least 2 of us, can get together, we will be talking over who won and how close we got to what we predicted. And then we're going to keep a month by month
Always right,
tally.
Adam.
We're always right. Yeah.
A month a month by month tally of which one of the hosts is more correct for that week. And seeing how silly we are with this, where we rarely choose what's the number one podium pick, you'll be very surprised by some of the results.
We'll need to create a chart that shows how close we actually got. From
yeah. In addition, the show notes will be made available to you as well. So every data point that we pick, everything that we scrape, we find, or the lists will be posted directly into the Patreon post show or post weekend for you guys to look up at your own leisure. And there's only more from there. There's even more tiers, but you should go and check it out for yourself because I think I've talked enough. We should get to that last.
There you go.
event.
So you could sponsor our show for this
That's
segment this week.
That's right. Well, I will say our top tier is the true WMCs, and you can start deciding what we have for the Fuego segment at the end. You can submit questions for the Fuego, and we'll see how silly that gets before we have to question whether that should remain a portion of the show.
The next event we're going to talk about is the Alamo Grand Tournament, San Antonio, Texas. Also in the U.S., 142 players, 6-round event. I know this event's been in place for a long time. I've seen this name for many years. It's cool to see these long-standing events. What are we going to see there?
We're going to see 4 Sisters of Battle, 9 Custodes, 3 Admech, 16 Astra Militarum,
Woo!
4 Grey Knights, 6 Imperial Knights, Space Marines, there's 4 Dark Angels, 6 Space Wolves, 2 Blood Angels, 4 Ultramarines, 4 Salamanders, wow, 1 Black Templar, 1 White Scar, 2 Imperial Fists, 5 Iron Hands. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to laugh at you guys, but I laughed.
Why?
Yeah. Chaos is 7 Chaos.
Look, if you got a yellow army, you want to show it off.
You know
That's
what?
right.
That's fair. If you painted a nice yellow army, you deserve to show that out. You flex that everywhere you can. Chaos are 7 Chaos Space Marines, 3 T-Suns, 7 Death Guard, 2 World Eaters. 2 World Eaters, that's it. Wow. 7 Demons, 7 Renegade Knights. It's actually a really interesting spread for Chaos. Xenos
really
is only 1 Hero Necron, 6 Orcs, 7 Tau, and 7 Votan. Hive Mind, there's 5 Tyranids and 3 GSC. Eldari, there's 1 Drukhari, 2 Harlequins, and 2 Assyriani, meaning the faction podium is Astra Militarum at the top with 16, and then the cliff. The second is 9 Custodes, and then CSM, Death Guard, what the heck is CD?
Chaos Demons.
Chaos Demons? What'd you put? Okay. Chaos Demons, Leagues of Votan, Tau. Why are you doing all these abbreviations? If you
So they would fit. So they would
get
fit
to be
on
our
the
Patreon,
screen.
You will know the pain that I have reading these notes that Adam puts out with his abbreviations.
Look, we're getting too good at this. We got to put in these little curveballs every now and then.
Man.
What's RK?
Renegade Knights.
Correct. All with 7.
Good. Too good at this. Too good.
6.
They're all tied.
6 factions. 6 factions on 3rd place, which I'm not sure if we've seen more than that for a single podium position.
Not at
6 factions.
Not at 7. We've seen it maybe like 2 or 3, but not at 7. Like that's
we
absolutely.
Are some of
wild.
y'all in the chat going to this event as well? Were there some chat and some talk about Texas and events in the chat?
Yeah, let's hear about it too. Oh, I just want to point out too that Death Guard are in there with 7 as well.
Correct. You did miss them, yeah. 7.
7.
That's their number.
It is in fact their number. How about that cliff though, boys?
That is a
7.
massive.
7.
Oh,
I'm gonna give a spoiler right now. My pick is Astra Militarum for this event.
I think we
would. So I think it's not a unknown thing that Texas is a guard heartland. Like guard is Texas loves their guard. The great state of Texas cannot move far from their guardsmen. Very much in keeping of some of their life philosophies of punching up and sticking it to the man, and also whatever else it may be. But that is a colossal amount. That is over 10%. You'd be hard picked to pick any other faction, but I will.
I have a question then, because this is really confusing to me. There's this many Astra Militarum players at the singles events. Where the hell are all they in the team events? Because they're not breaking 50% representation on the teams.
It's wild, isn't it? It's wild. Well, but that's because Texas, I guess Texas sends like 2 or 3 squads, and then they only have like 3. They can only have 3.
Or all these Astra Militarum players not team players? Like, nah, man, I just go myself. I'm
No,
playing
no, no.
myself. I play for
What
each.
it means is Astra Militarum players from Texas only play Astra Militarum. That's what it means.
Okay, that
That means
yeah,
that
I
they
can
don't
see
they don't
that.
play nothing else. This is what we do. I respect it.
Okay, okay,
Uh,
I can
um,
respect that.
exactly. Custodes being the hot second was actually an interesting pick because there are times when a lot of factions out there struggle to crack Custodes, especially with all the rerolls and stuff and some of the more
Yep.
MSU-esque builds that we have out there for them, because we're seeing way less bikes and I'm seeing less Caladius grav tanks as well,
Yeah.
but
They've
I'm
got
seeing a
the
lot
save
more.
versus mortal wounds, and they're starting to creep in mortal
Mhm.
wound. More mortal wound generation starting to
That's
creep
true.
back in too. I think.
Agreed. Yeah, totally agreed. But yeah, this just so weird. Demons on 7, Renegades on never says Chaos Space Marines on 7 is actually way overs for their trends at the moment. They're usually about half that, like 3 or 4 would be what I expected. Actually, what are the Chaos Space Marine numbers for the previous two? Because all these events are around the same amount
Chaos
of
Space
players.
Marines is only
Two
two in Germany
at Baltic
and two,
and
three,
3. Yeah, and they
three.
have 7. And they're sitting snugly in the middle numbers-wise of the other two events. So that is kind of over for Chaos Space Marines, which is it's actually good to see because I've had a lot of worries about Chaos Space Marines because they're the opposite of the Orcs and the Demons. They've got great rules, bad data sheets.
Yeah, yeah.
But let us jump
Interesting.
in. I have 3 lists for you, and please everyone sit down and hold on to your seat because the last one is cherry freaking ripe. So good. First up, we have
I'm
Brad
scared.
Townsend playing Thousand Suns, Cult of Duplicity. This is the list I've been waiting to see for a long time, and it's come full circle because this was played initially when T-Suns came out, and I think the meta might feel a lot better at the moment. He's got troops as his Arcs of Omen, Detachment, Armament, Exalted Sorcerer, Infernal Master, then 2 Sorcerers, one of them being in the No Force Org slot, 6 units of 5 Rubrics, 2 units of 5 Scarab Occult Terminators, 3 units of 5 Spawn, straight for Paul Murphy.
I like to see that.
Wow.
I like to see it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, you got some Sentinels. Oh, you got some Casterkin or whatever. Spawn don't care.
Nope. Spawn don't care. It's just
Yeah.
good wounds per point, and T
Yeah.
Suns need that. They need it. It's very MSU. It's very MSU. 2x5 scarabs rather than 1x10. 6x5 rubrics rather than a couple of 10s or even just less of that, and some cultists and or enlightened and stuff like that. And then 3 fatter units of spawn. And of course, naturally, he's got all the psychic support he'd ever need. And in addition to the chappy with the Infernal Master, I like it. I think it's probably the best way to go at the moment.
Wow,
Well, I like the
that's a
evolution of
pretty hot take.
this list and the player too. Like we've seen this player featured, either it been on
Hmm.
streams that I've commentated on,
Yeah.
been contention at tournaments with Thousand Suns this past season, and seeing this innovation and of the list, this evolution of the list to compete with what's happening in the meta right now. I think
Mm.
is kind of showing a bit of the generalship as well as what we know the player is capable of doing.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
So what do you think
exactly
the
right.
spawn is being added in for? Like, what do you think the specifics are? Like, why is he adding these three by
Well,
five spawn?
so if you look at what's missing is things like cultists, things like rhinos, especially. He doesn't actually have to remove that much, and of course, there's a whole nother a lot of the time we're seeing 20 scarab occults.
Yeah.
So there's 20 scarab occults missing. Maybe he's added 1 more unit or 2 more units of rubrics than we usually see, but the spawn are in place of some of the mobility and some of the other terminators, and I think there is just a fundamental issue with how many points you pay per wound in the Thousand Suns book. That yes, a lot of your units can do a lot of things, but when you're in an efficiency meta where you're playing against guard and they've just got so much stuff that can hurt you, and you only have a handful of things that can hurt them, there is a lot to be said for just having a well-pointed unit, like a Sentinel. Paul said it perfectly. They're very much like Sentinels. They don't shoot or fight. They fight differently than Sentinels do, but they're just a good amount of wounds for the points. They're well priced. Is pretty much where I'm going with. They're a value pick.
I think they're underpriced.
I think they're under as well. I think they're under. But in the terms of the rest of T Suns,
Right.
yeah, they're under. They're underpriced. And yeah, so I think they're really good. They're one of those few things that you can get to a 4+ invulnerable save, run it out onto an objective with -1 to hit, get your opponent to expose a lot of stuff, and then you can have the reprisal with the 2 other units, the scarabs, the rubrics, the smites, and things like that. Because that's really what I see as the issue at the moment for a lot of T Suns player. You have to go and try and play the primary, and then you just get gobbled up, and you can't really charge people off objectives in a response. You have to shoot them off, try and teleport. Don't really have the mobility, and you don't want to go charging onto objectives because you might not get the job done. So Spawn offer that in addition to reliability kind of in the open.
Yeah. Okay.
I like it.
I like it. I respect
All right.
it. Like I said, they're just so valuable. So
Absolutely. Next up, we have Junior Fleehey playing Leagues of Votan, the Glom, the Ymir conglomerate themselves. He's
Oh
got
man, this
fast
hurts me. He
attacks.
was playing Blood Angels. He
I
was.
know, I know. Knights at Blood Angels is what he's known for, and then yeah, he's just gone straight onto the Potato Man. Um, he's got an Iron Here champion, a High Carl, and a Carl. 10 warriors, 3 max units of pioneers, so the max pioneers, 2 Sagittars, and 3x5 Thunderkins. So no Hecaton land fortresses. And that's pretty much why I brought this one to your attention, because we're starting to see, especially in the meta where Guard is such a big player, the Hecatons aren't always the best pick because you just go second and they're dead, or you have to put them in reserve and not have them when you go first, and it's a big pain. So I do like this list. I like this list because it has got a lot of big base units, but it has the right amount that I think it can hide pretty reliably, especially if you're willing to put one unit of Pioneers in reserve. And then, of course, I think the Thunderkin are phenomenal units. I think they're really, really good.
yeah, the Thunderkin have been underused for a long time. I'm glad that everybody's kind of realized that they're probably.
Yeah,
I think we talked about it before. Like they're the second best data sheet in Leagues of Votan.
agreed.
Codex, for sure.
Agreed. Absolutely agreed.
The top one
So
obviously being the Pioneers.
I like that it's got the Iron Here champion as well. I think he's incredibly good value as well. It's just an incredibly good and well
You
pointed
can
thing.
ignore
And of course,
invulnerable saves or something too, right? I mean,
yeah,
he's like,
yeah. He's extremely durable for the points as well. And but Paul, you're a proponent. You like the Pioneers quite a lot, don't you?
I do, yeah. Basically, being able to jump around and put all that firepower, you jet secured, you create
Hmm.
difficult situations. Your opponent has to do all this math, like where can I be to not be shot? And the question is, in a very very small portion of the board, when you have a unit like that on the table. I also want to point
Hmm.
out that I know you mentioned the Hecaton Land Fortress isn't in there, but the list that we feature that don't have those big centerpiece models that you see in a lot of lists. What else are they packing into their army? Like they're getting so much more like stuff pieces to move around on the table, and you were bringing up that whole trading and efficiency type thing.
Hmm.
It's given them more things to work with, that are not present when you have. And what's the signature models? Bellicor, Abaddon,
Yeah.
Hecaton Land Fortress, those types of things. What else do you see on the table in place of that? Good
Hmm.
stuff.
This list has keyed in on one of the major issues I see when you're taking the 3x6 Pioneers, is that when you're playing against an opponent that has a lot of OBSEC, you can't afford to use your 3 pieces of OBSEC that you have. Because if you want to throw out a unit of 6 Pioneers to just stop them getting a 12, and then you lose 6 Pioneers, that's a lose condition. That's just...
Yeah.
So this has Junior solved it in a very clever way. He's taken 10 warriors and 2 Sagittars. So he's going to have 2x5 OBSEC, because he's going to split those and put them in the Sagittars. He's going to have 2x5 OBSEC little nothing units to throw out turn 1 onto objectives and play that game early without having to use the Pioneers. So the Pioneers can actually do what they're meant to do and be the firebase units, the alpha, go and wipe the opponent off the table. Because I see so many people have to put even just putting 3 Pioneers on an objective turn 1 in the open because you have to stop them getting a 12
In the
if they
open,
went
yeah.
first. Sucks so bad. And let alone wanting to do it with 6. So I think Junior's right on the money with this configuration.
Nice.
Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot.
All right, last up, everybody. Just
Go buckle
we,
up.
we have a champion. of
I'm
the
sitting
community,
back.
guys. We have an absolute legend of the community. We got a champion. Just let me tell you a tale. His name is John Caddis. He's playing Adeptus Astartes. He's playing Mantis Warriors, White Scars successors, Inheritors of the Primarch. So they are true White Scars. They get all strats and their White advance in
Okay.
charge and all that stuff. But commitment to the cause. Everybody just if you see this man, shake his hand, high five, buy him a drink. Elites is his Arcs of Omen detachment. Captain, Librarian in Terminator armor, 10 Tactical Marines. What a chat. Apothecary, Ancient Champion, 5 Terminators. 2x5 Vanguard Veterans. At last, an actually good unit. Single attack bike. 2 land speeders, a Land Raider Proteus.
What the heck is a Proteus?
My man. And then 2x5 Devastators and 2 Twin Las Cannon Razorbacks. Boys,
Wow.
what a champion. Just my man. John.
That's probably the old school Mantis Warrior
Dude,
paint job.
this straight up, I'm going to swear, this shit is straight out of Badab. Straight out of the book. He opened the page. The army rose out of the Imperial Armor book, and he's like, "These are my people. Let's go." I love
Mantis
it so
Warriors
much.
back in the day, they got a cool white dwarf like expose or whatever, and I think that, and they end up making it into a compendium, or can't remember if it was the compendium or the other C word, the red or the yellow book. I
Yeah,
believe they were in there,
it's
and
so.
I bet this traces its roots all the way back to that.
It has to.
So the Land Raider Proteus is the we call it the, don't want to be crass, but it's the oldest Land Raider configuration. It's the Godhammer pattern. It's got the las cannons on the side, the heavy bolters in the front. Doesn't have the assault ram at the front, but it's the OG old little tiny little one that they've remade now for Horus Heresy. It's so cool. I love it.
This has to have
Yeah.
it go back to the telling. That probably is actually an original Land Raider that this guy's
I
playing
hope.
with.
Dude, I would not be surprised. And we've just had to call that in the chat. If he gets 2 wins, he's the best player there. I actually agree.
Yep.
I actually agree.
I
In a
agree.
6-round event, if he has a 1/3 win rate, he should get the trophy at the
He
end.
should get a
Dead
trophy
set.
for Like 100%.
I'm not even kidding. But what a man! Just everyone high five this guy. Buying beers. What a
I think
champion.
sticking to your guns there, with your theme, and also talk about Badab. They used to have. I think the Mantis Warriors had one of the coolest characters from a couple of editions ago. They had some really cool psychic powers that could. Um, I can't remember the name. Chat maybe help me out, but there was a character from the Badab War
Hmm.
in Mantis Warriors, had a cool psychic power, had a cool thing, or it was a cool sniper guy or something. I can't remember. But I think the librarian had like an amulet or something.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm making this up.
I believe you for what it's worth.
Thanks.
I
I bet everyone in the car is going to be like, "That's who it is. I know it.
Yep.
I know it. I know it."
So there's Hollow Knight. Anyway,
Are you
whatever.
looking at Mantis Warrior?
I just googled Mantis Warrior characters, and Hollow Knight's the one that's come up the most. They're
Isildan.
Hollow.
I think it's
That's the
Isildan.
book. It's the book that they're in is Hollow Knight. Sorry. Anyway,
Isildan, I think, is the
Isildan?
name of the character. I think.
That sounds
think.
Mantis
Mad
Warrior-ish.
Lad.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, anyway, there's cool characters out there for Mantis Warriors. A lot of support in the Badab War.
Well, I'm a
Also,
fan of the Mantis Warriors. I'm a fan of the Mantis Warriors because they're the green and gold of the Australian sporting institutions. So I'm always a fan of the Mantis.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Hang
So
on.
who's winning this?
True.
Yep.
Pick a winner, boys. I mean, I'm going with John. I'm putting down Mantis Warriors, and if he does get 2 wins,
Then you.
I'm taking
You take the win, okay.
the cookies for this week. Mantis Warriors enshrined. All right, what do you boys want to pick?
I actually really like those spawn. I like that T-Suns list.
T-Suns?
Yeah.
Nice, good pick. What are you going?
I'm definitely going Astro Militarum.
Yeah,
The 16
that's-
players. Astro
It's silly
Militarum.
not to.
Semifinals are going to be 3 Astro Militarum. The finals are going to be
All
2
right.
Astro Militarum.
It's easy road Murphy over here.
Oh yeah. Always pick the conventional ones, but this is just too.
takes the Asuriani. Literally, did you notice that as soon as I mentioned I'm going to be keeping a tally of who wins, Paul's just like, bang, meta
That's
list.
it. I'm winning all of these. I ain't losing to you chumps.
That's it.
Mantis Warriors. What are you doing out
Punk
here?
ass,
memes.
punk ass renegade knights and Mantis Warriors over here. Anyway, all right, let's fuego this up.
So this is the part of the show where we take a quick break from all the stats and the figures or whatever, and we have a segment we call the Fuego Rapido, where we bring up a series of topics. We don't know what these are, and that ended up not working out well for us last week. But we give ourselves 2 minutes to talk about them. Once that time is over, each topic, we abandon it, never to repeat it again, unless some support chimes in from the Patreon that would like us to revisit a topic or two. We have that option available to folks. Once that clock starts, we, give our hottest takes. Then once it's done, we're done.
That's it. That's it. So this is. I don't know how many of you know what day it is, but
May the 4th over there.
It is definitely Star Wars themed.
We did a little Star Wars celebration here at the house.
May the 4th be with you.
May the 4th be with you.
Oh my goodness!
I'm just triggering people on purpose here.
if you're watching this live, don't look at the camera. That
All right,
was not
let's
Star
do
Wars.
this.
All right, let's do number 1 here. What are the best 3 Star Wars movies in order?
Ooh, I feel like we're gonna have differing opinions here, but
No,
I don't feel
so-
like
That's the whole
it's
point.
with the first one.
It's New Hope, which I still call Star Wars to this day. Empire Strikes Back and Rogue One.
Whoa,
I'm
Rogue
switching-
One.
I'm switching 1 and 2, but 3 is staying the same for me. I'm going Empire, New Hope, or Star Wars and Rogue One.
Really, you guys have Rogue One in the top 3, eh?
I absolutely do.
Okay.
It's if that one came out before New Hope, it would be number 1 in my book.
So I can't get away from the classics. I just had to mix up the order. So Empire is definitely I love Empire. That one's the best. And then it's New Hope. But then for me, I actually really like Return of the Jedi. But that
Return
might
of the
be
Jedi is
because-
great.
that's not
Actually,
because
I
have,
saw-
like, a nostalgic value of it because I saw Return of the Jedi as like I can't remember how young I was. I was like 3 or 4. I saw that before I saw any other Star Wars. I had no idea. I think it actually came out when I was born. What was the release date of Return of the Jedi?
83.
Yeah, that's when I was born. So that's why, like,
Yeah.
I saw it when I was like 3 or 4. I'm like, oh, this is cool. And then I found out my dad, like, I don't know how, but he hawked and like had a recorded copy from TV of Empire Strikes Back that I watched. So I watched them out of order, and I hadn't seen
Well,
I
there
didn't
you
see
go.
New Hope
At least you've seen it.
for 15 years after that.
No, I took
Did
I
you-
took the family to see the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi in the theater
That's awesome.
this week.
How was it?
It's great.
Was it the
I mean,
original
it-
or the
No,
remastered?
it was the most recently edited one, which I don't care for as much as the past ones. But
Yeah.
some of that's nostalgia. Some of it is like, hey, look at the effects we can do now. I'm like, yo,
Of
George,
course.
you know,
Stop it.
like you could have done practical. If it was just a puppet or whatever, I would have been more excited about it. But it was
Yeah.
clearly digital.
Yeah.
So I watched Star Wars for the first time and the first couple of times on VHS that had been recorded off TV.
Yep.
And so I had all the like the 80s ads between in the breaks, and I remember them just as much as some
That's
parts of
awesome.
Star Wars. It's so
That's-
funny. Me and my brothers are the same. We're like I
But-
remember that ad that was in between those scenes of Empire and stuff. And yeah,
But one comment about that, I'm glad the director and got his vision out or whatever. Like he definitely had the time to do that.
It's
and
Fuego,
that- and
Paul.
that- and that's cool.
Paul,
It's so funny.
Swago. What are you
Just
It's
doing?
such a
saying.
big deal, by the way. Don't go back to it. Just keep going after Fuego.
This is Star Wars. It's May the 4th. You're in my world now.
All right,
all
next
right,
one.
what's up?
Who is more accurate, a stormtrooper or a Cadian soldier?
Oh, Cadian, for sure.
Oh,
right?
with accuracy with their
Yeah. With the
Blast 'em.
shooting.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's got to be Cadian, right? There's no way there's
Canadians
Mate.
hit half a time.
Yeah. like,
every time I
Um,
roll a 6, something dies. Like
What
when did
about
it
Catachun,
apart
though? What about
apart from
Catachun?
apart from Jawas, did the stormtroopers actually kill anything in the entire original
You don't
trilogy?
even know that the stormtroopers actually killed the Jawas. You didn't see it happen. Maybe they crashed.
Yeah.
I mean, it
Could've been the
It wasn't the
dewbacks.
Sand People.
Yeah, it could have been the same
Could have
people.
been.
The Tusken Raiders, man. They mucked that
I
whole sand.
I love the. I do love the headcanon stuff about because most of why people think the troopers are bad is because of the New Hope original style, escaping the Death Star scene. And I love the headcanon that they let him get away so they could track him to the rebel base on purpose, and that they were misshooting appropriately. But then that does not make sense for the other next 2 movies at all.
But it still is. When you're watching it as a kid, you don't think of any of that stuff.
No.
No, you don't care.
You just see the action. You see the heroes being heroes, and yes, it's absolutely awesome.
Yeah, of course.
But it is interesting because when Obi-Wan says, if these blaster points are too accurate, only Imperial soldiers have such precision, and then they're like shooting Han like this and stuff, and like, oh, I'm gonna get you, mate. Oh, keep running straight back to your ship, Han. It's pretty funny.
Well, it's ironic because he's saying only stormtroopers are this accurate with blaster fire. It's like, well, why are they hitting the sandcrawler armor?
Yeah.
That's not really that's where they're aiming. They're aiming for the giant armored sandcrawler with little blasters. Yeah, brilliant. But like Paul said, You don't remember any of that stuff when you're watching. You just remember the heroes and the.
Unfortunately, Cadians is the answer to this because they at
Yeah,
least
yeah,
will
100%,
hit 50% of the time.
That's fuego anyway. The next one. Did Han shoot first?
Unequivocally, yes.
Yeah,
I will
100%.
I will break very little argument. Sorry, Paul.
Greedo did
I
not
know.
even fire.
In the book, Greedo didn't at all. It was just
Did
Han,
not
just
fire.
Han that shot. And I think that Han shooting first, like even as a kid, Star Wars also came out when I was born, so I've it's like, but when he shoots, you start to establish a frame of reference for that character. He may be a scoundrel,
Yeah.
and so when he leaves at the end, he's like, "Look, got my money. I'm out." You actually feel like we're never going to see Han again. You know,
It's true.
and so when he comes back to save Luke, it's like a huge, spectacular moment.
Yeah.
And then when you know that he didn't shoot first, and then you start to soften up his character along the way, it softens that moment, which I think was originally one of the greatest moments in the movie.
Yeah.
Like, who didn't? When you hear that, you're all clear, kid. Who doesn't want to jump up? You know, and I think as anything you take away from building up to that, it diminishes that.
Yeah, that's true.
I absolutely entirely agree. I hate that they've remastered it to make Greedo shoot first. It's terrible. It takes so much away from Han. He's supposed to be a piece of crap. That's why the arc matters. It's supposed to be it takes away so much more than it adds.
It does too. Do you think they did him justice in the Solo movie?
I haven't watched it.
I did enjoy it. I think that when that came out, I loved it.
I enjoyed
and
it.
the reason
I thought it was good.
I think when it came out, people were starting to get a little bit of Star Wars fatigue from the other stuff that was happening in the Star Wars meta, but it was a good. I think they packed in too much. We didn't need to learn all of Han's secrets in 2 hours. We needed it to be 2 movies.
And I haven't watched it, but from what I hear, not everything that he has needed a weird story arc. Like his blaster and his jacket didn't need to have their own little tails and crap. It could just have been a gun and a jacket, and he looks cool. Doesn't matter.
Fuego. All right, next up. What 40K faction would the Ewoks join to fight against the other factions?
That's got to be the Tau.
It's got to be the Tau, yeah. It's got to be the Tau.
You got to think about it, though, because they're actually... Are the Ewoks actually good at heart? Because they were about to just...
They were going to eat those.
Think of the crew. Crew carry around parts of other things on them. It's on their sprue.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the obvious choice. Okay, well, if it's not Tau, who would they join?
Ooh, would they be like squats? Like squats, they would be the cultist of this. I don't know, because they can look him in the eye.
Oh yeah.
And they become the squat meat shields, where the squats just kind of herd them in front of the advance. Be like, wow, we're really getting gunned down when we get shot and they get shot. What have we got? Anything we can put in the middle? Hey, there's guys that live in those trees. Let's just gather them up and just push them in front.
Dorian says that they'll join the Tyranids, but not by choice.
That's true. We will all, everyone in truth is a Tyranid ally on those terms.
Maybe they'll join like the beast packs of the Drukhari. You can really bring out the carnivorous Ewoks with the Drukhari.
I love that. I love that a lot, actually.
They're definitely Ultramarines.
Somebody makes some clawed beasts as Ewoks.
I'm imagining like a homunculus with like a French beret on their head, just staring at an Ewok, trying to figure out how to weaponize it, just being like,
"That's a great. I want that as a T-shirt. That is an amazing T-shirt."
How do I fleshcraft this sentient hamster?
Where is the skin?
Into something
see
good.
Fur.
Yeah.
I think
so good.
This one. That's Fuego anyway.
So they're definitely joining the Tau.
Definitely joining the Tau.
100% the answer for that one. Would Jedi and Sith in 40K be considered psychers?
Yeah, surely, right?
Would they? Because I actually think this is a kind of a puzzler because not technically.
You can't tell me that Sith unlimited power lightning isn't like Warp Charge 4. You can't tell me it's not a psychic
But is it
power,
warp
right?
abilities or is it closer to Satan powers?
Yeah, see, I think it's more like Satan powers. Like more because they're talking about like sky of falling stars, something that bringing meteors down and shit. Like that's kind of more what it's. Because I don't feel like they're actually using. But then again, they use like mind.
Does the force
mind to
come from
manipulate.
somewhere outside of our universe?
It's no, the force is from nature. The force is all around us. It's in the living
Yeah, so
things.
it can't be a psychic thing though.
And it's certainly not the freaking midichlorians. I don't
but
give a shit what that is.
would the Inquisition buy that, or would they still hunt down Jedi and Sith?
Oh, you think like Luke would get used to power the Golden Throne? Gather him up.
That would be
go to Tatooine.
That'd be a sick.
As
mod,
late,
man.
go to
I don't
late,
think the
late
Force.
Psychers.
I don't think they'd be considered psychers. I think they would be some old It's an old dead religion. As way.
What would they? If they're not psychers, then they would be accepted by the Grey Knights and everything like that. But what would they be then? Because they couldn't be librarians.
Yeah, I don't think the power would come from. It was not external to.
I
our
legit just think
universe.
they're psychers. I don't know.
Really?
Power from pain. It's power from pain, baby. Let's go.
That's what the Sith would get. So then there's gonna be power from
Exa-
nature?
exactly,
Is
exactly. So it's more like the Elder. It's like fate dice. And then there's power from pain. That's actually pretty funny.
Oh, actually, yeah, the fate dice and stuff. That's
yeah,
okay.
Yeah,
So they just be
that's
characters.
right.
that
The
get
living
little
force
fate dice.
permeates us.
Okay,
it does.
I'm down with that one.
Yeah. Sometimes I eat Mexican and it permeates the room as well.
Okay. Then we got a bonus question. Does a lightsaber ignore invuln saves?
Yes, but not
no.
demon invulns.
This one actually
no.
this was a tree.
Well,
fall in the
actually,
wood
It
situation.
can't. No,
You
there
are
are things that
correct.
can
You
block
are
the
correct.
lightsabers.
There are
Yeah,
definitely
yeah,
things
you are
that block
We got
lightsabers.
Droidicars.
the Praetorian Guard, the Praetorian Guard, the Droidicas, the shield droids, the traitor, the baton wielding guy, whatever, blocks the lightsabers, so they don't ignore invulnerable saves.
But it doesn't ignore lightsaber saves.
yeah.
Yeah, is there anything?
I think you could.
Is there anything that because there's nothing that penetrates everything aside from the best.
Like what I've always found interesting about lightsabers is they're not like that deadly a weapon because they cauterize the wounds at the same point. Like unless the initial actual strike is deadly, like you could chop off most people's limbs and they wouldn't bleed out. As horrible as a picture as that is, like.
But it's true.
Oh, Count Dooku would beg to differ.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he didn't have a head.
Well, like I said, the head is
the neck,
genuinely.
It doesn't really make a difference at that point if there's no head on top of it.
There's not much coming. Yeah, exactly right. There's not much like, this doesn't fit back together.
Just get him in one of those back to take. He'll be fine.
It's fine. You ever seen Futurama? Dude, their heads live forever. They've just got Dooku's head in a jar.
He's on the council. He's running for president of the.
That's episode 10. Return to Dooku's head.
Oh my god, there's a crossover from the heavens. Jeez.
Nixon's back.
Here we go.
There we go.
This has been a good episode.
It's been a great episode.
Thanks everybody for listening. Please know that we are on the podcast aggregators. Even if you listen to us live here on YouTube, help us out by going over and subscribing on one of the podcast aggregators, and also clicking that 5 or 6 star, whatever the max star reviews. Would really appreciate that. That is one way to engage with the show, completely hassle free, but it really helps us out. Basically trick the aggregators into filtering the show to the top, and that's how other people discover us.
And if you cannot support us financially, because I know times are tough for many out there, and we're definitely not begging for it, but if you cannot, please just carry the word. Tell some other people that we're still here, still going. Help us grow and make this as big as we can. Thank you so much to everybody who's been in chat and been active. You guys are champions.
Yeah, that's been awesome. You guys have been active already. This is only our 3rd episode on our new channel, so thanks everybody for being here. Spread the word. We're just growing. We're gonna keep doing this. We ain't stopping.
Choo choo.
Subscribe on
everybody.
YouTube. If Patreon's right for you, check us out over there. Hit those 5 stars. We'll see you all next week. Good night, everybody. Thanks a lot, chat.
See you next week.